Good morning, Keller Williams, Greater Metropolitan. It's Tuesday morning, which means it must be a sales meeting. And I think you all just witnessed the last time I ever get to pick the morning song, or at least pick something other than Taylor Swift. Did not know that needed to be an edited version, but apologies to any of those soft ears out there that heard that. Very excited to have you with us today. We took last week off because we were doing this little thing down in Austin, Texas called Mega Camp. Mega Camp is an annual event hosted in Austin, Texas by Keller Williams Realty International. It is one of the largest real estate events out there. It is the largest mastermind in all of real estate. We had about 9,000 agents from around the world in Austin, Texas, in the Austin Convention Center, breaking down models, systems, the market, what our next best steps are as an industry, and how we as an organization, how your company is going to navigate the rest of this year and the rest of this decade. We have, you're going to hear in just a few minutes about an event that we have coming up in September where we're going to do a full-blown recap of everything that took place there. One of the awesome things about Keller Williams is that it is a massive organization, right? Almost 200,000 agents worldwide. What makes Keller Williams even more special is the way that that large organization breaks down into communities. On Monday morning, there were no less than half a dozen community breakouts based on the way that we do business, right? It might have been KW Talent, right? One that is about hiring and cultivating talent. It would KW Wealth, the one that I sat in on, led by Brett Tanner, all about how we think about and how we build wealth as real estate agents. You know our friend Dan Ahara, who was our keynote. He leads Real Estate Planners, which is all about helping our clients be strategic in the way that they organize and plan and divest themselves or invest themselves in real estate at their various stages of life. KW Luxury, KW Commercial, all of those opportunities exist. If there is, if anything that I just said stands out to you, piques your interest, is something you want to learn more about, please reach out. We have agents in our office that are in all of these different communities. And if you're wondering how you get plugged in, what your next step is, anything like that, I promise you there's already somebody here in your home office who is doing it. And the opportunity for you to draft off of them and do it bigger, faster, and stronger is why we believe in this mindset of abundance. It's the reason you can have a large and successful event like Mega Camp, where thousands and thousands of agents get together and talk about what they're doing to succeed and literally hand over the playbook, the literal playbook of do this, not that, so that somebody else can go do it even better. If you've never been to Family Reunion or Mega Camp, we're going to talk about Family Reunion here in a bit. If you've never been to either one of those, I want you to start thinking about your growth plan and start thinking about your goals and start thinking about what it would look like to be a part of it. You will come back with bigger goals, a bigger vision, bigger opportunities, better systems, better models, and completely reinvigorated by the industry and knowing that you are in the right spot. As we look at one of the things that makes Keller Williams great, that is our Y4C2Ts. These are the 10 items that are our belief system. I had the pleasure on Monday of last week to sit in a small auditorium with just a few hundred other agents and hear Gary Keller speak and to have the opportunity to have him interview a few people from various industries, not just real estate, and talk about what defines success and what it looks like to win during hard times. A couple of our beliefs, believe it or not, showed up in that conversation. And the one that stood out the most is success, results through people. Gary spent the first 45 minutes of the conversation talking about how important it is to surround yourself with talent, to surround yourself with people who are going to get it done. And as I'm scrolling through down the right side of my screen where I can see everybody with my eyes, I have never been more certain that I'm in the business with the right people. Um, and I hope that you feel the same way. And if you don't, let's talk about how to get into business with more of the people that you want to be in business with. It's one of the great things about this industry. But I'm very confident that if we're waging a protracted battle in this market against this market, that the people that I get to be surrounded with, the people that make up this organization locally throughout Greater Cleveland, throughout North America, and throughout the world, are the people that I think anybody would be confident to lean in with. So thank you for being you. Thank you for being here today. And thank you for being a part of what is going to be a really great run for our organization. Speaking of getting in business with people, we have a couple more career nights this week. So who do you know who is sitting on pins and needles because AI might be eliminating their job or making their job a little bit less needing of humans? Who do you know whose company just rolled out a less than stellar second quarter and has to report that to the street? Who do you know who just whose kids are now of an age where they are not needing the constant care and concern of mom or dad at home, and that person's looking to fill their time by helping others and serving others? All of these folks and more are going to be great individuals to invite to a career night. We've got one on Zoom this week, and then we've got another one in Rocky River in person next week. So take advantage of that opportunity to help people find their way to what is an incredibly rewarding opportunity in a career in real estate. Let's talk about some training that we have coming up this Thursday. Our guy, Andrew Ginter, broker extraordinaire, will be opening up the line and rapping a little bit with everybody on what do we need to do and how do we need to do it when it comes to handling disclosing inspections for deals that die on your listing, right? This is a question. I know I get it 2-3 times a week. Hey, what do I do now? That means Andrew's probably getting it 10 or 12 times a week. But there are ways to approach this and ways to engage with this that serve your client at a high level, keep you compliant, and get the next deal in the bucket. So don't miss the opportunity to mastermind with our broker, Andrew Ginter, Thursday, 1:30 p.m. via Zoom. We're about 1 week away, 8 days away from our mega agent mastermind and brunch. If you were invited to this, you probably got spammed by me and others on the team over the weekend to make sure that you're going to be there. This is going to be a great event. We're going to work case studies. We're going to have tabletop conversations about, you guessed it, leads, listings, leverage. And we're going to work through one of the cornerstones of a successful business and a successful life. And that is going to be the 6 personal perspectives. And we're going to do some evaluations around that. So it's a great time. There's going to be fresh fruit and charcuterie, occasionally a couple bottles of wine. It's going to be a blast. 11 to 2, invite only. So we look forward to seeing you there. And then on the 31st, we're going to round this thing out with our Rocky River Book Club, 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, Stuart Turton's debut novel. Hard to debut higher than old Stuart has. This is a great read. And if you haven't finished it, you could probably knock it out in the next 10 days and still be able to join for some of the fun. And that brings us to September. September is upon us, and we have a jam-packed training calendar for you. We're covering a lot of great stuff, and we're going to have a lot of fun together as well. First and foremost, Keller Williams University has an amazing course. Remember just a few minutes ago when I was talking about how important it is to be in business with the right people? Keller Williams University has this course called Career Visioning. Career Visioning is all about understanding who you are, who you need in your organization, how to get them into your organization, and how to optimize their energy. Put in a much simpler way, it's all about hiring talent and getting into relationship with and activating talent. And so if you are someone who someday, whether it's in 3 months or 30 months or 6 years, sees an opportunity for you to build a real estate organization, to have administrative or operational professionals supporting what you do, you are going to have to be capable of hiring, right? And this is not a skill that comes naturally as a progression out of listing presentations or out of buyer consultations or showing homes or sitting on inspections. This is a skill that we must learn. And so John Clyde, who's an outstanding real estate agent, an outstanding leader out of the Mid-Atlantic region. He's a regional director. He's a former state trooper turned real estate agent, turned mega agent, turned market center owner, turned regional owner. He's got an amazing story, and his path is littered with great hires, which is why he is one of the top people to teach this course. We already have 10 agents from our office headed there. If you're interested in exploring opportunity, please send me an email, michael.rapaski@kw.com, and let me know. Tickets are about $199. We have a few available potentially at discount. So if you're like, whoa, $200 and a trip to Perrysburg, what's second prize? Let me know, because we might be able to make something happen for you. So go ahead and shoot me a note if you're interested in that. And then the very next day, arguably one of the most fun events that we do as an organization is the KW Cares Clam Bake. We're celebrating 20 years of KW Cares and 20 years of KW Cleveland Cares this year. We have some remarkable raffles, auction items. There's good food, there's great music, there's good people. It's a can't miss opportunity. We already have over 125 people signed up. We're about 3 weeks out. Tickets can sell out. Please do not delay. Bring yourself, bring your spouse, bring your past clients, bring your mother, brother, sister, anybody you want. All are welcome. Take advantage of this as a fun night and a fun way to support a great cause. Getting into some of our training for September, we're going to be talking your first investment property. Guys, when the market shifts, there's opportunity, right? You're going to hear from Eric Uchbar today, who is many things extraordinaire, investor extraordinaire, potentially first and foremost. So Eric's going to be there with Heidi Huffman, who in the last, I think 12 or 15 months, cracked her first investment property, and then her second, and now I believe her third. So we're going to be hearing about how did she do it? How did she get over the hump? How did she jump off that high dive? And then Don Jarecki from Cross Country Mortgage is going to be breaking down everything that you need to know about how to finance these opportunities. Because when you look at an investment, I can't buy $10,000 worth of stocks putting $20,000 down or $2,000 down. I can't do it. Nobody's going to finance my stock purchase, but Don Jarecki and the team at Cross Country, they'll finance my investment portfolio for properties, right? So take advantage of that. Did my screen flip? Am I freezing? Okay. Wesley Croft will be leading the course. He's our productivity coach on the west side in the Rocky River office. So he's going to be leading a conversation about expert lead generation, because if you want to do a lot of business, you need to first have a lot of leads. And so Wesley's going to be breaking down not only what your opportunities for lead generation are, but how to pursue mastery in the ones that drive the most results for you. So do not miss Thursday, September 14th, 11 a.m., Rocky River. We are going to be talking lead generation. And then the second part in our two-part series for dominating off-market listings. Guys, there is no conversation that I want to have about whether or not there are listings currently on the market. We all know the way that things are. They have been the way that they have been for 15 to 18 months. So we could keep talking about the weather, or we can go make it rain. This conversation that we started with Jen Rubel and Pat Barman last month, and we are going to conclude next month with Wendy and Jason, is all about getting your unfair share and fishing where the fish are, right? The fish are not on the MLS. They're off the MLS. It's all the people who haven't listed or don't know how to list or don't know that they should list that we need to be in pursuit of. And they're going to be breaking down everything that they learned from a 12-part Keller Williams MAPS coaching program in this session on September 20th. And then on the 21st, big party, big fun. You heard me talk about it. Our mega agent camp recap. So this is going to be all of our folks who were in Austin, Texas, sharing lessons learned, breaking down what Gary said about the market, and looking at those playbooks that got shared out with everybody in attendance. Doors will open at 9:30. Party starts at 10. Do not miss out on this. One final reminder about headshots. Headshot day will be on the 22nd. If you have not signed up for one and you need one, and listen, I'm not here to call people out. I don't want to make you feel self-conscious, but there's more than one person on this call who needs to update their headshot. I know there's at least one, because if you've seen mine, you know I need one, so I'll be there. So help me fill all the slots for that day, get some updated headshots, and let's put our best foot forward. And then our friends at Ohio Real Title will be, or no, excuse me, First American Title, and Ohio Real Title. There's going to be some title folks out there doing a canon of ethics conversation in Rocky River on Wednesday, September 27th. This is good for 3 hours of CE. It is a core CE. So, a lot of the CEs that get tossed around are the general ones. You need 3 law, 3 ethics, and 3 fair housing every 3 years. And so don't miss out on the opportunity to check that box, and lunch will be provided. And then finally, looking all the way ahead to October, which I know it's like, telling your 5-year-old that Christmas is only 100 days away. October, which is right around the corner, we are hosting Matt Sutter for the Business Planning Clinic. This will be 6 hours of continuing education. Matt is an absolute rock star. For those of you who have been around Keller Williams and Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan for more than just a few years, many would argue that few people, if anybody, teach the Business Planning Clinic better than Matt Sutter. He is incredibly talented. He is a former team leader, a former top agent in all of Keller Williams. He is a rock star coach. And if everybody's got the class that they love to teach, and this is where Matt is pursuing mastery. We will be hosting this with all market centers. There are only 200 seats. And you say, like, Mike, we only had 110 people there last year. Well, now everybody gets to come to the party, right? And I want all of you at the party. So right now, tickets are on sale, early bird pricing, links in the chat. Take advantage of it. Get your seat. Don't miss out on CE, but more importantly, don't miss out on the opportunity to set yourself up for your best year yet, right? When everybody about you is losing their heads, this is the opportunity to focus and have a plan and dominate every opportunity that comes your way. All right, partner updates. Over to, you know what? I got some complaints. I'm sorry, Janelle. I got some complaints from the cross country guys that their feelings, they have big feelings, and their feelings were getting hurt. And so I'm gonna just continue to pour salt on that wound and let you guys go first.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, we like to be part of that. Rick, you can start.
All right, cool. I had a interesting thing come up that I hadn't really seen before, never really thought of before. I don't know if too many of you are familiar with like the sprinkling program through the water and sewer district. Something where you guys can offer this up to some of your clients, let them know that if they're using a ton of water, they might be able to get a credit back by applying through the sewer district, but they have to show as owner occupied on that property. So I had a situation where somebody bought a non-owner occupied property, but because the taxes don't change until December for next year, they were not able to get it. And they happen to be a family member, and they're yelling and screaming at me because they can't get it. How does this help you guys? Well, if you know anybody who bought non-owner occupied properties over the past year, just give you another reason to reach out to them about next year when they do show as an owner occupied credit, that they'll be able to apply for that credit. Again, if there's someone who's, potentially filling a pool or using excessive amounts to put in a new yard or something like that. So that's my update.
And now the statewide contract is being used a little bit more. We've seen it more in different brokerages. And there is a big section regarding title and escrow about title policies. So they're actually tomorrow, I have a broadcast, Tenacious J. It's at 10 o'clock, and I'll post it on the Facebook page. I'll be going over standard versus enhanced title policies and the difference. And really the enhanced policy is really only 15% more, and it's a one-time premium, and it covers a heck of a lot more to cover both your buyer and seller. So if you have any questions regarding that, just know tomorrow I'll be putting on a little presentation and popping it up on your Facebook page.
Love that. Thank you guys. Good to see you, and looking forward to seeing you and the raffle basket you're going to roll out for the clam bake here in a few weeks. Excellent. Our friends at Cross Country Mortgage. I saw Don Jarecki. Don, how are you this morning? I don't think I saw
Very
you.
good yourself.
Oh, there's Hadley. There's Hadley. You know, you cast a pretty big shadow, Don. I didn't, sometimes it blocks out old Hadley over there.
Hey, I got to step aside and get out of his way.
That's right.
And Mike, you can continue with the Ohio Real title going first because it is beauty before the beast, aside from Rick.
I was gonna say that's the highest praise Rick's ever got.
Perfect. Well, just to touch on interest rates, clickbait galore. Last week, the headlines were interest rates now at 7.5%, and that, as of today, the national average 30-year fixed was 0 points to 7.48%. My favorite headline was mortgage rates now near 7.5% for no new reason. That's really it. Just sort of everyone accepting the reality of where it is. Market still adjusting what the Fed may or may not do here through the end of the year, but people are still buying houses. So it's been over a year since rates touched 6%, and obviously now deep into the 7%. So we're going to have a meeting tomorrow, or I'm calling it kind of an open forum. Anybody who's welcome for a Zoom. I'm going to post it here, and we'll put it on the Facebook page as well. So 11 o'clock tomorrow, the three of us, Carmen, and just anybody who wants to pop in. We're just going to chat a little bit about what we're seeing in the market. We'll talk about interest rates, first-time homebuyer programs, and really it's an open discussion. Figure it, as if we're in a classroom with anybody there, just raising a hand, asking questions, or talking about challenges that they recently faced that we might be able to chat about. So just wanted to mention that. Again, we'll post that on the Facebook page tomorrow morning as well. Second opinions. It boggles my mind the bad advice and bad information buyers are given. You'd be surprised how many people still think you need 20% down to buy a house. It's a staggering number. So if you ever have a buyer who says they can't get a mortgage or they're not qualifying for what they want, get a second opinion. Even if I give a buyer bad news and something they don't want to hear, I tell them, hey, feel free to go get a second opinion. We're not the end all be all. I mean, I don't think many people get different answers necessarily that we give, but just always keep that in mind. Some lenders require more than 3 or 5% down. One quick example of a great second opinion, had a buyer, we're closing today, so you know how this story ends, but the buyer had an appraisal from an out-of-town lender, and the house short appraised by $45,000. They couldn't make it work. Had a conversation with me. We said, hey, we can rush an appraisal. Can't guarantee that we'll get any number different than what you already have. Who knows? It could even be lower. Well, the house appraised right on the nose, or I'd say just above the sale price. So appraised values, I'm not going to, bash one appraiser over the other. But we're here for the second opinion. From the time the buyer was hitting the panic button, starting a new application with us, we were cleared to close 12 days later. So just know that you've got a buyer in a situation is not working out with another lender, run it by us. We may be able to throw some advice to solve the problem with where they're at. Maybe we just give it a fresh look, and occasionally we can get it done in a timely manner and save the day. So DJ.
Yeah, Sean, you mentioned about people still think that 20% interest or 20% down is required minimum down payment. I was watching the national news this morning, and the media was reporting on interest rates, like you said, touching 7.5 for the first time in about 20 years. And what boggled my mind is that this woman was a financial, for lack of better terms, a financial analyst on this news channel. She indicated that on a $400,000 purchase with the required minimum down payment of 20%. So it's the national news. It's just throwing this wrong information out there. Required down payment is not 20%. As Sean said, it's 3 to 5%, depending on what kind of program you're using. No money down USDA, no money down VA. So again, 20% is not the norm. We take for granted that people know this. We've got to get that news out there that it's not. I mean, there's minimum down payment loans out there with going market interest rates.
Well said. I think I'm good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, awesome. And I want to just real quick, Don, Sean, Chris, how many times a week are you fielding a call from an agent, whether it's in our office or from anywhere, that's got a deal going somewhere else with another lender that they're just spot checking or bouncing things off you or looking for your help to, sort of read the tea leaves on things? Is that's fairly frequent?
I kept score years and years ago because it became my little tagline. 1 in every 3 calls just out of the KW office back when I was keeping score, and probably still even more so to this day, are deals that I have nothing to do with. So they're agents with problems, and we're there to try and solve them. Even if we're not the lender for them, hey, part of our job here is to be on site. Your on site mortgage go-to, again, not just for the loan itself, but for information, whether it's marketing, whether it's problem solving. Sometimes it's just sort of communication. Nancy Zimmerman's been doing this forever. If she was going to she got an offer on a VA offer on her house, she's probably going to call me and go, hey, what do I need to know here again? So that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I think the lesson here is to inspect what you expect. And if you expect it to close, you got to pay attention to it. If you see something that you don't like or something goes sideways, you've got a triage team, and and maybe in best case scenario, you got a team that can take over the deal and get it across the finish line inside of 2 weeks. So thank you guys for that. I know you're a huge resource to a lot of our people, and I hope more of them every day. All right, Gina Legeza with America's Preferred. Talk about being a resource to our people. Good morning, Gina.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Great to be here. Just wanted to let everybody know that I'm going to actually be doing a training tomorrow at our Rocky River office. And for those Eastsiders that don't know, Danny Boy's Pizza is being served. It is the best pizza in Rocky River, Ohio. So we will be learning about why it is so important, especially in this market, to make sure that your clients are protected by putting a home warranty on each of your transactions. And it's interesting because today's topic is about scripting. And I just wanted to mention just a few things out there for everybody. If you care about referrals, your reputation, being in the know after your client closes, if you feel you'd never close without a title company, if you're interested in building a relationship, if you're interested in how the warranty would benefit you and your client, every question that I just asked has a yes, yes, yes by the warranty helping you and your client. We keep you in the know when your client does have a claim. This way you can reach out and get in touch with them or be in touch with them. I think it's really important in this market where people are doing clean deals. When we're talking about scripting today, it's a simple, Mr. Customer, I know you're going to be closing. We've won in this offer in multiples. Just want it to be said before you go forward. I really think you should put the home warranty on. You can pay for it outside of closing. This way we can keep our deal clean. It's going to protect you. 80% of homeowners experience a major system failure in the first 30 days, Mr. Client. That's why I want to protect you at all costs. I think we should move ahead and put the warranty on. So those are some scripting tips and things we'll be talking about tomorrow. So please join us. It's at our Rocky River office at noon, from noon to 1, and I will be bringing lunch in. Looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow.
All right. Love that. Thank you so much, Gina. And then over to Liz with the Leverage Center, talking transaction coordination. Anything you're seeing, loving, not loving, happening with the deal flow right now?
So it had been a slow couple of weeks. It looks like this week things are maybe picking up, which is great for everyone. One thing I also wanted to talk to people about today, I don't know how many of you have ever looked into the comp only input listings for the MLS. That is done when there is not a listing agent involved. So if you are buying or you have a client who is buying a FSBO property, you can put that into the MLS after it closes and you will still get credit for it on the buy side, even though there wasn't a listing agent to put it in the MLS to begin with. If there is a listing agent involved, you can't put it in there. Unfortunately, you won't get credit for those. However, if that's something you want, I mean, we all want credit for what we sell, right? Then just make sure you look up on the MLS the instructions for the comp only listings. And if you have any questions on that, you can let me know. I've done a few myself.
Excellent. Yeah, great way to make sure that, as we roll through awards, we capture every deal here in the office. But if you're president club, or if you're NAR awards or anything like that, where a deal here, a deal there can go swing things one way or another, if that's important to you, we can help you make sure that you get that in the box.
And you never know when it's going to be important, when you're trying to show, here's everything I've done when you're up competing against other agents. It can often look good, the more deals you have under your belt that you can show them specifically on the MLS. And I think that maybe feeds to Zillow as well. So just make sure that, you're getting credit for what you sell.
Awesome. Awesome. I believe it does. All right. Terrific stuff. Now over to our resident dialogue expert. We've got so many people who focus so much on this and have grown their business as a result of being really intentional about what they say. But I would argue that 9 out of 10 of those people probably learned how to focus on dialogues and conversations, really intentional conversations, and saying this, not that, from the guy you're all about to hear from. His name's Eric Uchbar. He's been in the business since he was knee-high to a grasshopper. It's almost 20 years? It's 18,
Yeah,
19
it's getting
years?
there. Yeah, it was next year I'll be in my 20th.
That's awesome. And he looks like he's only 20. So how he does it, we will never know. At least on the skincare routine, he has not shared that despite my numerous requests. But what he does do at a really high level is the dialogue and conversation component of lead generation and negotiation. This shows up in a lot of places. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Eric. And I know you've got a few things you're going to take everybody through today. I'm here for the ride. If you need anything, do you want me to power down my screen share? Do you want me to throw anything up on the screen?
No, I think we're all good. I have quite a bit here for everyone. So I believe we have about a half an hour. Is that correct? We're trying to end at 10:30.
I don't think anyone's gonna be getting their stiletto out the door right at 10:30. So you give the people what they want, man.
Very good. Well, we'll go ahead. We'll try and keep it well before 10:30, but we'll see what we can do here. So this scripts and dialogues, and believe it or not, as I was going through all of my notes, I said, you know what, we've done scripts and dialogues so many times. Why don't we talk about everything around scripts and dialogues? Because everyone knows scripts and dialogues. We have all the information. I could sit here and impress you with some really fun lines. I think though, what's really more impactful for everyone is to learn about all the things that are around that. So we're going to talk more about that today. So please get your notes out. I've taken a lot of time to put this all together for everyone, and this will help you when you're going into a meeting, kind of do a self-awareness check. What is it that I really need to be prepared for? Now, first things first, let's talk about where to even find the scripts, which again, we are not going to go through in perfect detail today. We can all find these because Carrie and our leadership team had so many of the consistent questions. They took it upon themselves to say, let's build a great website that has all of our resources right there. So if you want to find scripts, go to 297agent.com, then go to resources, then go to script library. Again, 297agent.com, resources, script library. One of the first things I tell all the new agents anymore is go through it, and experienced agents, go through 297agent.com and click every single tab. There are so many questions and so many things that are in there. It's very, very helpful. I think Carrie or Julia just put it in the chat for everyone, so thank you so much. The next thing that I want, thank you, Mike. The next thing that I want to talk about today is what Ben Kinney talked about. If you don't know Ben Kinney's story, He was a cable salesman. Somebody bought him the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book when he wanted to invest in his first property. He went ahead and did that. Fast forward to today, I bet you he's making $5 to $6 million a year. How did he do it? Everyone asks him. I love how simple his answer was. He said, I said the right things to the right amount of people. So we're going to talk more about saying the right things today. And again, the things around it that are really important. The story that I want to share about that is when I was 18 years old, I was getting licensed in real estate. I became licensed when I was 19. And I got 10 appointments. And I remember sharing that at a Tuesday meeting, or my manager did for me at a Tuesday meeting, that this Eric had 10 appointments that I set. And I thought that was a normal thing back then. Everybody was very impressed that I set 10 appointments. The story that wasn't really shared was I got 2 of those listings. So I kind of went back and I went through 2 different things, and I've spent time on other trainings talking about showing, not telling. The other thing is really what I'm talking about today. So if you listen closely, you'll hear all the mistakes that I've made and learn from those mistakes that you don't have to repeat them. So why do we use scripts? Really important that we talk about. The biggest complaint that I hear from agents is, number 1, it doesn't sound like me, or number 2, I sound like a robot while I'm saying them. I really want you to think, if you fall into those categories, you are thinking about this incorrectly. You are suffering from some type of confirmation bias that's just saying, you know what, I just want to do what I like to do and where I feel comfortable. Mike Ferry, which is a very aggressive real estate coach, which I was in his coaching program at an early age, he used to talk about how one agent would say, it doesn't sound like me. And he would go, how many homes do you sell? And they would say 5 a year. And he would go, great, let's talk to another agent. How many homes do you sell? And they would say 75. And they would go, great, do you use scripts? And he would say yes. And he goes, do you want to sound like an agent who sells 75 homes, or do you want to feel like an agent, or sound like an agent who sells 5 homes? And he goes, say the right things and it's much easier. These were designed to help. The amount of times that I've literally had agents come into my office, I will hand them the scripts and I say, call 10 for sale by owners. And I've watched them their first day set appointments after trying to call on their own scripts. It is phenomenal. So again, I'm not going to spend any more time on the exact scripts. We're going to talk about the things around it. So everyone's heard the statement, it's not only what you are saying, it's how you are saying it. So we're going to spend the majority of the time on that today. So we have several different categories. The first one, and I want everybody to write down in their notes these different categories, but leave room for some notes underneath it. So the first one is going to be tone and speed. Tone and speed. Next one that we're going to talk about is body language. Third, and one of my favorite to pay attention to, not only with clients, also with my coaching clients, I watch their facial expressions very closely. This is also very helpful with any type of friends or family. You can really read the room and read what the other person's saying by their facial expressions. They're not aware of it typically either. Number 4, your mindset going into the listing is incredibly important. And then 5th is going to be your confidence level. And I'm going to give some questions and some tips and some pointers along the way. Let's go back to tone and speed. Questions to ask yourself around your tone and speed. Am I speaking in a friendly, approachable, and professional tone? Almost more important is, am I speaking to the client how they want to be spoken to? I would underline or highlight that one. Am I speaking to the client how they want to be spoken to? We watch some agents have a lot of success, and then they'll fail at a certain appointment, and we investigate, why did we fail at this appointment? It seems like it's right in your wheelhouse. You know this area, you know this listing. The challenge is they may be somebody who has a different personality set. If you're familiar with the DISC profile, if you talk to a high D, that's a high driver, how an SC personality style wants to be spoken to, which is just statistics and formulas, they will get bored to death and they're going to want to move on. They're just saying, give me the list price, let's list it and let's move on. Vice versa, if you speak to a high SC and push them through the process, they'll often say, I just need time to think about it. And that's all they mean. Sometimes they just need to sleep on it. That's okay, but we have to be able to differentiate the two. You can't always just say, well, they want to sleep on it, therefore I should not push. A high D probably has something that's unanswered, where a high SC just goes, I really need to process the information and take time to look it over. A half an hour is too fast for me to take a valid response here. Additional questions for you. Am I adjusting my tone to match the client's emotions and needs? Am I adjusting my tone to match the client's emotions and needs? As we know, logic makes you think and emotion makes you act. Buying real estate is one of the more emotional, residential real estate at least, is one of the more emotional times that a buyer is going to be going through in the next year, 2 years, maybe in 5 years, depending on what's going on in their life. So we have to be aware of what their emotions are and address them accordingly. Next one, and this is not always the case yet, and most of the time it's important, is my tone enthusiastic and confident? Confident is always important, but is my tone enthusiastic and confident about the property or transaction? Is my tone enthusiastic and confident about the property or transaction? Next one, am I actively listening to the client's tone and responding appropriately? Am I actively listening to the client's tone and responding appropriately? This is going to come up a couple of times during today, yet spontaneity is a conditioned reflex. It's a bold law. It makes no sense to me the first 30 times I heard it. What this means is it's really telling us, when we talk about spontaneity as a conditioned reflex, you can write this down. It means that you don't have to think to respond. You're thinking of the solution and are aware of your surrounding. It's no different than a great basketball player, football player, whatever it is. It's amazing that they know a player's right behind them, even though they haven't seen them for the last 20 seconds and they can pass the ball to them. It's because they are focused not only on exactly what they're looking at the ball or looking at the hoop, they know where their players are as well. Yes, Rena, I can, let's see here. Can I repeat the last question? Yes. So the last question that I just went over is am I actively listening to the client's tone and responding appropriately? The only way that you're able to really be in the moment and understand where your players are around you, and in that case, what I'm saying is, are you aware of, is the client paying attention to you? Are they paying attention to someone else? Are they paying attention to their cell phone? Is only if you are aware of what your scripts, and you don't have to think of your scripts or think of how you feel. The biggest mistake most agents make on their first couple of listing appointments is they're focused on them and how they look, instead of trying to think from the other person's opinion or where they are at. We need to be thinking of their problems and ask questions around it. The majority of your presentations, you should write this down, the majority of my presentations are all questions. The only time that that changes is during your value proposition part of your listing presentation or buyer presentation. Your value proposition is mainly showing them what you're going to do for them or telling them what you're going to do for them. Beyond that, it's all questions, and the person asking the questions controls the conversation. We've talked about that many times. Here's a really, really good one. And one of the easiest tricks to gain your confidence level is my speed of speech appropriate? Is my speed of speech appropriate? You can write this down. Faster speech equals less confidence. Slower speech equals more confidence, or at least it appears that way. If you ever hear someone, or if you go back to your first listing presentation, if you listen to it, if you have it on record, or if you could imagine what you felt like, you were probably trying to just spew out a bunch of words and, come up with an example. I love it when an agent tells me, if I ask them, how long have you been in the business? They've been in it 3 months. They go, well, I've been in the business for 3 months, but I've actually got, I started my licensing journey a year and a half ago, but then I used to sell real estate with my mom, and I love to go to open houses and instead of just saying I've been in business 3 months. That silence is very powerful, and it also shows your confidence level. You're not afraid of that question. The only time that switches, attorneys use this actually I learned this many years ago, attorneys will actually get people on the stand and frazzle them when they are over-educated about a certain item. They will punch question after question after question of something that person doesn't know about, and they'll speed up their speech if they have a slow rate of speech to come back with. It's a nasty tactic that they use, but that's the only time that it shows more confidence in the attorney than the witness in that standpoint. But yeah, the majority of the time, faster speech equals less confidence, slower speech equals more confident. Zig Ziglar used to say when he would go on stage, he would say, however fast or however slow I think I can get my speech down to, I'm going to try and reduce it by another 20 to 30%. Whenever you go on stage or you public speak for the first several times, you want to just spew out a bunch of words. Slow it down. And if you think you're too slow, slow it down more. All right, next one, body language. Let me just make sure that there's nothing in the chat here. Feel free to jump in, or you can, if you have questions, jump in as well, either through the chat or you can unmute yourself. All right, body language. Question to ask, is my body language conveying to the, what is my body language conveying to the client? Not only that, you can write these down. This is like a pre-listing check. This is also a really good way to go back through your listings afterwards and go, why did I not get this? Maybe I could improve these areas. A couple of quick check marks you can write. What does your tire say about yourself? What is your vehicle? And I'm not talking about the type of vehicle. I'm talking about how your vehicle is cared for. Your preparation. One of the best things I do is when I go on a listing appointment, not only do I put a folder together, I'll put the name, the phone number, the time, all of that on the folder. And when I show up and that folder is nice and clean and crisp, that seller sees that, and that's a reflection of me. Not only that, think about everything. If you're pulling your purse or briefcase out and there's flyers flying all over the place, what does that tell you? What does that client tell you? What is that telling you about? What is the client thinking of you when you do that? What is the height of your chair? I want you to think, if I was sitting like this at a listing appointment or on Zoom right now, does this look like confidence? And by the way, if we've ever sat in a chair or a couch or a sofa in a living room, you have all felt that way. You just sink into the chair, and it's not a great way to present yourself. Here's a big one that nobody really pays attention to. We are blind to these items. What is your computer screen cleanliness looking like? You can all look at it right now. Does it need to be cleaned? Your client will see that. You may have gone numb to it. Same thing with your cell phone. It makes me cringe when I see people that have cracked cell phone screens or dirt all around them. And it happens. Go on Amazon, buy 10 cell phone screens. Have them there, swap them out. They're like $2 a piece now. They actually make really nice, we have them at home where you just clip it right on top of your phone, and it's like a little way that you can, it's like a form that it just lets it drop in and it centers it right on your screen really nicely. Anyways, really important to look at those items. Other items about your body language. Am I maintaining good eye contact without being overly intense? I feel like we should be teaching this for like high school kids when they're dating. Have something else to look at instead of just their eyes. Sometimes we have to be looking at the screen. Sometimes we have to be looking at the brochure. Practice how to do this. There are a lot of different things about body language and tone in how to win friends and influence people. I encourage you to read that. Let's go to the comments here. I do recall potential clients commenting that I didn't have a laptop. That seemed to be an important observation they made. Yeah, absolutely. Be aware, and it's okay if you bring a laptop or you don't. The question is as well, like, how do you overcome that? If you are an agent that doesn't have a laptop, one of the first things I recommend, and one of the only things we really need, is a good laptop and a good cell phone. But we want to make sure that we are, prepared and showing up in a great way, that it's charged, all of that. Back to still in body language. So yeah, maintaining eye contact, but also backing off of it to a separate area. So again, maybe you point to your pamphlet, maybe you point to your laptop, whatever that might be. I'm going to go in the chat here, or I'm sorry, looks like somebody has an unmuted mic. Can't see it on here. Well, we'll keep going here. If your mic's unmuted, or you can unmute if you have a question, but if not, please go ahead and mute it. So is my posture confident and open? Again, is my posture confident and open? Really important that we're not sinking down into our conversations. What I mean by that is when you're uncomfortable, that you're kind of doing this. Or wincing, be very careful of your own wincing and also the clients. Again, this is really telling about what they're looking at. Am I mirroring the client's body language and able to build rapport? That's a good one, but let's move on to number 3. which is our facial expressions. This is the most telling of the client and you. Remember, spontaneity is a conditioned reflex, because if you can focus on the conversation, or if you know your script, you can really focus on what you are saying, how your tone, your facial expressions, everything are, and you can control those. One of the best things to do, and we don't have this very often anymore, but when a client would way overprice their home, back in 2008, 9, 10, 11, one of the best things you can do is change your facial expression. Without even having to say anything, they might go, wow, the expert right now is telling me I probably am not pricing this correctly. So again, it's not just what you are saying, it's how you are saying it. So facial expressions. What are your emotions and facial expressions showing is a great question to think about. What are your emotions and facial expressions showing? Notice I wrote in their emotions. Don't bring your emotions in. I don't care if you got pulled over on the way there. I don't care if you got a flat tire, whatever happened earlier today, if you got in an argument over a deal or an argument with a spouse, a friend, whatever it could be, that gets left in the vehicle, especially during your presentations. This is the half an hour to an hour that you're with your client, that if you make a mistake, if you mix up one item, that's it. I remember a time where a client actually told me, he goes, Eric, you came over my house and like you kept telling me all these things that I needed to do. He was an investor, by the way, and he was about halfway through the project, and I was giving him different examples of what he could do, and he took offense to it. And I remember going back in my head going, I could probably see that in his eyes, but I thought he was an investor. He shouldn't be emotionally attached. Well, that cost me a listing. Am I smiling and appearing approachable? This can go both ways. Sometimes we do want to appear approachable to certain personalities, and other times we want to show that we are a high D. When you're hiring an attorney, do you want a friendly, warm, and fuzzy attorney in all examples? Sometimes you want an attorney that's going to be a pit bull for you, as Diana Kokoska would say. You have to be able to control these items. Majority of the time, you want to be smiling and appear approachable. Do I show empathy and understanding of how the client discusses concerns or preferences? Definitely important. We need to be understanding. And one way we can show the client that we're listening is take notes. You hear me say this all the time. Take your notes, take whatever they are telling you. I've gotten so many compliments and so many listings over the years because I take notes during listing appointments. Am I controlling my facial expressions to stay professional and not reveal personal biases? Incredibly important. I'm going to repeat that one. Am I controlling my facial expressions to stay professional and not reveal personal biases? This is something that Diana Kokoska talks about in coaching all the time. We have to be aware when we are confirming, and it seems really easy to just shake your head yes when someone's talking to us. That's sometimes confirming something that we should not be confirming. Be very careful of all these items. And when you have this in your realm of understanding, you can control a lot more in your environment than you realize. What do we have on time here? Perfect. We got 4 more minutes, so we'll jump through the last 2 topics. Empathy. At what point do you cut a person off in a nice way to get the business at hand? That's a great question. At what point do you cut a person off in a nice way to get to the business at hand? So this is somebody that I'm assuming you're referring to, where somebody like, hey, we just keep wanting to talk. We don't want to talk about business. We want to talk about fun things or whatever it is. I put a deadline where usually I will move on to the next conversation. I'll say, hey, I do have another appointment. When I walk into any listing, I say, I have 1 hour here. I showed up on time. We're going to leave at time, just like I am now. And I'll say, by 10:30, I have to leave. Do you mind if we get back to the business at hand? So that's typically, if that's what you're referring to, Eddie, that's typically how I'm going to handle that. So I feel like Eric says this to me all the time. Not quite true, but let's keep going on to mindset. So your mindset walking into the appointment, we know, is one of the most important things that we can talk about. And I know that I keep saying like most important thing like 10 times. If there's anything that we can really focus on, it's going to be our mindset, because that will help all the other 4 categories here. So am I approaching this appointment with a positive solution or a positive solution oriented mindset? Am I approaching this appointment with a positive and solution-oriented mindset? This can even be a difficult negotiation that we have with an ROC. If I'm walking into a client or having a phone call with them, I'm just like, I've had it, like, I don't know what to do, Mr. Seller. Like, this is horrible. Like, I can't believe what this buyer is doing. I just want to tell them, see you later. Or am I going into it going, hey, we're right here. We've gotten past the appraisal. We've gotten past all of these items. We're about $400 away. And yes, I do agree, it's ridiculous. Here are our options. And then we go through the options and I go, here are the different solutions. Let's focus on the solution. Let's get away from that problem of the client's just the other side of the table is being ridiculous, or maybe my client's being ridiculous. It doesn't matter. Are we coming to a solution that will also keep you out of a lot of lawsuits and a lot of other challenges? Find the solution, find out what we can do to move forward. Do I believe in the value of the property or service I'm offering? Incredibly important. I was thinking on the way to the office today, how do we gain confidence? And really it comes from number one, knowing your material, and number two, believing you know your material. I can't remember the great saying, but there's something about what's the difference between somebody who's delusional and somebody who's confident. It's somebody who believes in a dream that they don't take action on. And there is a fine line between that, but we have to know our topic and we have to have an open approach to listening if there is some type of criticism coming back to us yet. Do I believe in the value of the property or service I am offering? That's where we get our confidence, which is our last topic here. And before we move on, the last note I had under mindset, am I mentally focused on helping the client achieve their goals? If we are not helping our clients, that's providing value. That's all we do, is we problem solve. So am I mentally focused on helping the client achieve their goals? If your focus is on how you look or how many homes you've sold or how long you've been in the business, your mindset is in the wrong area. So are you really mentally focused on helping the client achieve their goals? That will help in such a great way. Lastly, and we have less than 30 seconds here, so we have our confidence level. So if you want to know your confidence and how to boost it up, I'm going to give you some questions to look into. If you have further questions of how do I, this is my problem, Eric, how do I overcome it? Feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text or an email. Do I project confidence in my abilities and the services I can provide? That's the real main confidence question. Underneath this, I have I rehearsed and practiced my scripts and responses? This is going to help tremendously. Like when you can just snap back at a seller when somebody goes, will you reduce your commission, and respond with confidence, that's going to be 90%, just getting you there. And Mike Fair used to say, no, do you have any other questions? Or no, what other questions do you have about the listing presentation I've given? If you say that confidently, sometimes that's all they're asking is there a discount? Is there a coupon code? So next one, am I prepared to address the potential objections or questions with confidence? Here's a great thing you can do before you go into your listings. What other problems can I find out before I even get to the listing? One of the great pre-listing scripts that you can give is, when I come over to the home today, are you prepared to sign a listing? And I'm not asking that question because I want them to just say, yeah, we're ready to go. I want to know when they say, no, we're not ready. I go, great. What is it that I'm up against really? And they might tell me, well, I'm interviewing 3 more agents. Great. I can now figure out how to handle those objections. Eric, I really don't know until you tell me what your commission is. Great. Now I know how to present against my commission and be prepared for it. Maybe they just go, no, we're not ready for 3 months. Perfect. I know not to push too hard because they're not going to be ready for 3 months. Sorry, we have a little bit more background noise. We're all good though. Keep moving on. Do I have, let's see, do I have a list of questions to ask the client? This is a go-to. Again, the majority of our presentations are asking questions. I have about 10 that I can pull out just like that at any time to make sure that I'm asking the question to move them on to the next topic, and it's still addressing their issues. I never let a client though dictate my my presentation. So if they're jumping in and going, Eric, I really don't care about your value proposition, just tell me about the price. They don't say it that way. They just go, well, don't you have a price for me? I go, absolutely. And we do have that in the presentation. I'm going to go into the next item, which is blank, and I just keep moving on. I still hear them. I acknowledge it. I'll write it down. And I still make sure that I move on. Am I demonstrating my expertise in reassuring the client of a successful outcome? Am I demonstrating my expertise in reassuring the client of a successful outcome? So these are the questions you can ask not only before, but also after. And it's really telling. You'll hear me in coaching all the time when I'm doing one-on-one coachings. I'll say, scale yourself in a 0 to 10 scale. Did you demonstrate your expertise on reassuring the client of a successful outcome? Did you project confidence in your abilities or services? And rank yourself, and then ask yourself, what did the client rank me, and see if there's a gap there. And then obviously you move it forward to what are the different actions that we can rehearse and practice for the next time around. This is how we get better. Simple as that. So we are 3 minutes over. I apologize. I tried to keep this actually before 10:30. I do have time to open it up for questions, but if not, we are all set. I'll give it back to Mike.
Yeah, no apologies needed. You were handed the mic a little bit later than expected, but yeah, guys, let's what questions or reactions or ahas do you have for Eric based on what he covered this morning? You can either go in the chat or feel free to unmute. Biggest takeaway, thing you'll do differently, question you have for clarity.
Well, if there are no questions, I always say a great presentation has the client asking no questions at the end of it.
That's right. Hey, you left them speechless, Eric. I truly appreciate you being a part of this, guys. Eric is a coach in our office. He runs our under 1 year productivity coaching program. He also coaches clients and experienced agents full-time. He is, as you saw today, somebody who has a great perspective on not only what to say, but how to say it, what to look like while you're saying it, and what should be going on in between your ears before, during, and after saying it. So when we think about this conversation around dialogues, yeah, they can just be words on a page, or you can make them yours. And Eric loved the angle that you took on this conversation. Very new, very refreshing, and I think incredibly applicable to anybody who's never looked at a dialogue or script before, and for the people who have been doing it for the better part of a decade now.
That's it.
All right. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you all for being here this morning. Excited to finish the month strong and then make our way through the rest of 2024. Can you believe it? 2024 right around the corner. Let's go win what we have left. Have a great week.